$11,636 in one single day. And to prove that this isn't a screenshot, I could click right here to show you that it isn't a screenshot and it is in one single day. So I'm not just here to flex. Even though it feels a little bit good, I'm also here to show you how you could copy this and do this business model for yourself. We're going to start this video off by asking you a simple question, and I want you guys to actually think about this. What do you guys think is the most valuable asset to own in 2025? Now, if you're thinking about it, you might be thinking gold. You might even think real estate's a great asset to own, or even your Bitcoin. Now, don't get me wrong. These are all great assets to own in 2025, but it's not the most valuable. So what actually is the most valuable? Hands down, the most valuable asset to own is attention. More valuable than your Bitcoin, more valuable than real estate, or anything that you could imagine. Now, you've probably heard this saying before, attention equals currency, meaning basically attention equals money. If you could capture a lot of attention, you can make a lot of money. So now the question begs is, where is all the attention in 2025? Where basically is everyone's eyeballs? Now, you probably know, like me, what everybody's doing all day is scrolling on their phone. Everybody's on Instagram. Everybody's on TikTok. Everybody's scrolling on YouTube Shorts. This is where everyone's attention's at. The TV industry is pretty dead. People watch movies on Netflix. People watch movies on their phone. Everybody's on their phone and everybody's scrolling. You're probably thinking, okay, Jano, I already know everybody scrolls on their phone. What does that have to do with me? So the question now we have to ask, the important question, is how do we actually own this attention / currency? Now, a great example that we could use for this is the bald kickboxer. No matter what you think of this guy, in 2022, 2023, he was able to literally own the majority of the attention from the internet. So how did he capture everybody's attention? If you were around in 2022, a couple years ago, and you had TikTok and you had Instagram Reels, there's no way you were scrolling on your phone and not seeing this guy. He was everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. You either loved or hated him. And no matter what you think about him, he literally gained a massive fan base just off clips. So he did this by clipping. Now, some guys that were actually making these videos and posting them and making edits to them were making decent money. You could become a clipper right now and easily make 2 to 5K a month. Now, there's only so much money you can make with this because how much accounts can you really run? How much time can you spend editing? So now we have to ask ourselves, who was making all the money when this guy had all the attention? Now, of course, the guy that made the most money was him himself. And the clippers themselves were probably making a little bit extra. I know some of them were making a lot of money, but the guys that were really making the most money were the guys managing all the clips. Because if you think that this was just luck and it was a bunch of people posting clips for fun because they thought he was funny, you're wrong. It was managed constructively by a team. And this is where we start talking about a clipping agency. And by this exact business model, was I able to make $11,636 in one single day from just one of my clients. Now, how does a clipping agency work? So let's say you have a client like Nelk Boys. Now, this is actually one of the clients that we work with. Obviously, my agency name is Clip Labs. This is one of our clients. So this is an actual real example that we use. But let's say Nelk Boys have a 10K budget, right? They're going to give 10K to our agency. We're going to have a group of clippers, maybe in a Discord, maybe in a Whop group. We're going to take a commission off that 10K. Maybe we take 2,000 for ourselves, right? And I can't write with this shit, and then we'll give 8K to the rest of the clippers, and they'll get paid based on views. And all you're basically doing with the clipping agency is being the middleman between these two, right? Because a client isn't going to go pick up thousands of clippers, which might be a little bit cheaper for them, but it's going to take them way too much time. So you have the clippers and you make it so much simpler for them, they don't mind paying 15, 20% commission on their budgets. Now, this is how you own the attention, right? So here's a little math equation I made for you guys. I know some of you guys are retarded, so you won't be able to understand. So here's the equation. We've established that attention equals currency. And we've also established that clips on social media is where everyone's eyeballs are. So this is also attention. And that means currency equals clips. If you could become super popular on short form content and be in front of everybody, you can make a lot of money. So now that you know this, you really have two options. Your first option is to become a famous guy. Iman Gotzi, Andrew Tate, Luke Belmar, these guys have massive personal brands. You see clips of them everywhere, and they will never have to work another day in their life. But we have to be realistic here. Do you want to become another famous guy? I'm not saying it's impossible to do, and these guys are going to make a shit ton of money, and they already do. But If you ask most of these famous guys that can't go outside without getting a picture taken of them, they'll tell you that it's better to become rich and anonymous than to become one of these figures. So your other option would be starting your own clipping agency. And we call this now drop clipping because it's basically like drop shipping where you're not doing any of the fulfillment yourself. You're just getting the money and giving it to clippers. Now, I don't think people understand how much attention you could control by having your own clipping agency. And I'm going to show you a real life example right now. So everybody knows who Donald Trump is, right? And maybe you're not in politics too much, but when the 2024 elections happened, a little bit, maybe a few months prior, did you not see a bunch of edits, a bunch of clips everywhere of Donald Trump? I actually know the guy. It wasn't me personally. I know the guy that was running these edits and running a clipping agency for the Republican Party, right? And Donald Trump will say it himself that TikTok was one of the main contributors of him winning that election. Donald Trump absolutely exploded in the youth vote, and I really don't think that people understand how powerful this really is. I really want you guys to understand that a person's algorithm is their consciousness. If I took your For You page right now and put 30% more of it with gym content, you would be guaranteed more likely to be thinking about the gym and probably even going to the gym. Same thing if I put 30% more in entrepreneur content. You'd be thinking about money a lot more and you'd be more motivated to make money. This is how people think. And it's not just their conscience, it's actually their subconscious. Because think about it, when you scroll on a video and 2 minutes later, you probably don't remember what you just scrolled on 10 scrolls before, but it's still in people's minds. It's still in their subconscious. So what people scroll on is what they think about. You could literally look at someone's For You page and understand what kind of music they like, what kind of personality they have. So this is why I believe all the people that are doing a clipping agency like myself are in the right place at the right time. I want you guys to understand, when you build up a massive agency like I have, we have 85,000 clippers in just one of our groups. And between all of our clients and all those different groups we've made, we probably have over 200, 300,000 clippers. We get, tens of thousands of clips submitted a day. I want you guys to understand that if someone came to me with $1 million budget and wanted to start a mass propaganda campaign, I'm not saying I would do this, I'm not saying I'm evil, but if they really wanted to, I could shift the minds of at least a small percentage of people. Because I know I could get 300 million views a month with that client, and it will alter people's minds. And you might be thinking, okay, Jano, you're just bullshitting. This isn't actually real. But I want you guys to actually think about it. If someone had millions of dollars and another person had an agency as big as mine, where we could literally get, with millions of dollars, we could probably get 10,000 clips submitted a day. The amount of volume, the amount of clips, and the amount of hundreds of millions and billions of views a month that we could get for that person will literally alter the brains of the people scrolling. So this is why I say this is the best business model to have, because other companies and brands are going to realize how important it is. So only for the people that understand how good of a time it is to get into this business model, I do have a Telegram that you could join below. We're going to be dropping a bunch of free sauce in there, and we're going to be accepting applications to our mentorship very soon, and I'll see you in the next video.